Well. Hello, Zambia. This is your friend and brother, Dr. E.J. Nkoma, coming to you live. And we believe that you are doing well on this program tonight as we discuss on Zambia Decides. As I've said always to us, that we are bringing leaders who aspire to lead this great country. We want to ask them questions. We want to hear from them. And we are just here to represent you. And so you are free to send us your questions. You are free to send us your comments based on our leaders. Go into the chat box there, start texting to us. Tell us where you are watching from. Much more, share the broadcast. For those of you who are following us on television, thank you very much for the platforms on different platforms, Millennium TV, Revelation TV, and also those who are listening via radio, Christian Nation FM. We want to say thank you to our good friend and brother, Father Laston Robert Father Loops, for putting the nation at the center. We are here to speak truth to power. We are here to speak truth to ourselves as nation, the nation of Zambia. We are not here to speak on behalf of the opposition or on behalf of the ruling party, but we are here to speak on behalf of the nation, because all of us, we know that we only have one nation called Zambia. Zambia, and therefore chalo cha Zambia tufuire tuwachichingirira nokuchitemwa sana ukwebachaya pantanji. Today I have a woman who is with me on this podcast. She doesn't need much introduction. She comes a long way from the music background, but also she's a career person, that which I know, and she gets into politics many years now, and she runs the party, and she is the president of NDC, and this is no other than Madam President Saboi Imboela. She's joining me tonight. Madam President, how are you?
I'm okay. Thank you. How are you?
Well, it's nice to see you, and nice to have you here. I know this is a very important year. How is it going on your side?
Well, so far so good. Everything is okay. Of course, the political temperature is already getting high, but things are so far,
Nayamba kaloku kaba.
Kale bwangu.
Ati tukokola efibipa.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, the Zambian people seem to be getting geared, others getting a bit concerned. But the fact that the time will not wait for anybody. 13th of August is just around the corner. Before we know it, we'll be there. Let's hear, what's the state of NDC, your political party? How is it doing?
Well, the political party is doing fine. It's doing okay. Right now, we are having what we are calling provincial conferences. I think the people that follow me on social media have been following with us from the time we started. Because before we have the convention in NDC, we have what we call provincial conferences or provincial assemblies. And those culminate into the main general conference. So that's what we've been doing. Because yet again, that before you participate in the general elections, you have to have your own intra-party elections. So for us, we started that process, and it's a very important process because we're going around the country and we are seeing, because sometimes when you are here in Lusaka and your structures are telling you to say, no, the province is intact, we're here, everybody's here. You can just say, okay, people are here, and they show you names, they send you numbers. But when you're there on the ground, it gives you that feel of what really everybody is doing and if people are there or not. So apart from just selecting the new leadership that will move us from 2026 all the way to 2031, it's also an opportunity to visit the leadership, see who's working, see what's going on, and have a feel of the ground. So that's exactly what we are doing right now, amongst the other ongoing mobilization programs and other meetings which they are having. But the biggest program that we have right now as a party are the provincial assemblies, because come next month, we're having our general conference.
Okay, so the general conference is just next month for NDC. Yeah.
Yes.
I want to ask you this question. I remember 2021, you took over this party from Comrade Chimbaka when he went back to the Patriotic Front. And there were some few issues you had to deal with in terms of navigating your own party. How has it been after you took over from Vakambwidi? Has the party grown? Have you seen growth? What are the new developments that you have seen in NDC, if there is any?
Well, the new developments are plenty, really, because if you remember that time when Wakambwidi went back to PF, it was almost as if the party had split in three. You know, he went back to the PF. Yes, he got some people with him. And then our vice president also went to UPND, got some people with him. So the people that said, you know what, we have a party of our own, let's remain NDC, let's grow our party, those people remained with. And that's how from 2021 to now, we have tried by all means to ensure that certain things are moved in a certain way. The only problem that we have faced as NDC is that those people that went with Mr. Kafumba to UPND, they started doing all sorts of mingalato on us, you know. When people see the PF fusion, yes, they think that whole thing started with the PF. It started with the NDC, really. You know, started with the NDC, then went to DP, you know, yeah. I don't know why ruling parties are so undemocratic in this country, you know. They always want to ensure that they kill off opposition. So people don't realize the kind of battles and wars I've had to fight from 2021 to now. Yes. I always say that even just us standing right now, you know, the biggest battle was just to survive, you know, and we survived everything that they've thrown at us. From 2021 to now, we had about 6 legal cases, you know, and those cases and everything. I can tell you right now that we don't even have one at the moment, not even one. You know, all of them were thrown out, and they were thrown out, and the one we had to sign a consent judgment, because even that same one, they made all sorts of allegations. So for me, I was saying, I want this man to go to trial. I want them to come here and stand here and say what that they've been saying in court. So the time that they were supposed to come now to give evidence, they kept on postponing, and next thing they said, let's have a consent judgment. You know, and this is a matter where we had to travel from Lusaka to the Copper Belt almost all the time, spending so much money, you know. So I was saying that I want them to come here so that they lose clearly and they give us the legal fees, you know.
Yeah.
But that case, of course, there were other people that were involved. Our former president was involved in the case, our former vice president as well. So these people who are no longer NDC, to them, they were very happy with the consent judgment. And they were saying, let's sign this so that we get the matter over and done with, you know. But for me, who's leading the NDC, I was like, you know what? These guys have come after us in so many ways. I want them to pay for this, you know, but I had to compromise to also consider those others. So that's how we had that consent judgment, you know. And for me also, with those, there was an issue also of signing, let's say, the list of office bearers at the Register of Societies.
Yes.
Because what normally happens is that every year when you do your annual returns, apart from the reports that you give to Register of Societies, they also tell them to say, this one has left the party, this one is no longer with us, this one was expelled, suspended, all those things. So when you give them that specialist, yes. And for a while, they kept on saying, no, don't change NDC office bearers list because there's a matter in court. The last matter in court was disposed of last year, that is June. Up to now, they've still not changed our list of office bearers, you know. And for us, forever, yes. And look at which is the contrast with the PF. The PF, despite the matter in court and everything, they did an illegal or hostile takeover and changed their list. For us, wanted the list to be changed, they kept on saying, no, we can't change it. So we have a problem now where people that left the party, others even left politics, are still appearing on our list. So that, to me, I think is a little bit. Can you imagine that? It's really, really so sad, to be honest with you. And, and
welcome to African politics, and that is African politics at play at some time.
It's horrible. It's really, really horrible, to be honest with you. It's horrible.
Yeah. So I want us to look at something very interesting here. This year we've got elections. Of course, prior to the elections, we saw a number of alliances being trying to come together. We saw the time that UKA was formed. You were a part of UKA. Then later on, UKA could not continue. We saw formation of other alliances, but we saw you specifically aligning yourself with President Harikalaba. Is that relationship you and CF, Citizens First, how is it going at the moment?
Well, the relationship is going on very, very well. It's going
Mm.
very well. And I think if you followed all those things happening in Oka, one of the problems we had in Oka was that people were failing to choose a leader.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that we had elections even in Oka. President Harikala could have won those elections. And no wonder you saw some people doing some ingalato as usual, Zambian
Yes.
politicians and ingalato, yes. So no wonder we really aligned with him to say this was very unfair because if everybody wants to be a leader, as you have seen in the opposition right now, where everybody wants to
Absolutely.
be president, yes. So we said if everybody wants to be a leader, it's better you have elections so that elections are held and the best man wins. So
Yes.
even when we left Uka, we aligned with him and we've been talking and everything. We are actually supposed to even formalize an alliance, but we are talking in the background because some of the reasons why alliances don't work in the country is that we leave out a lot of the details. I remember even Uka,
Uh-huh.
we said, yes, we didn't write documentation. We just said, this from an alliance documentation will follow. Big mistake. So now we don't want to make similar mistakes. We meet
Mm-hmm.
very often with President Kalaba and also President Chansa of RDC, and we've been talking, planning, and everything, putting up even some documents. So once we agree on almost everything, and also the other political parties that have come on board and we're talking to, trust me, we are going to announce an alliance. But I can confirm that we are working together and working very well together. But we just want to do something where we are trying to more or less like control the mistakes we have
Mm-hmm.
done in the and ensure that if we're going to come up with an alliance, this will be an alliance that will stand the test of time from now to August and definitely beyond.
My question to you in that regard with alliances, you have also alluded that your party, NDC, is going to hold its convention to elect a leader. In this case, you are putting yourself as a leader of NDC uh,
Mm-hmm.
to say you are available for NDC to appoint you or to vote for you as their leader.
Mm-hmm.
Has NDC made up its mind whether it's contesting on the general election, or you are saying you can
Mm-hmm.
be voted in by NDC as the leader, but Tamwake Minine, on the general election, you are wanting to support somebody else, in this case, Harikalaba. Is that what you are saying to the Zambians?
Not really that. Of course, there's a possibility of that, but from the last general conference that we had in December, the stance
Mm,
of the NDC is that NDC should participate in the elections, and I
okay.
am their presidential candidate. So definitely, the idea is that we do participate in the elections. However, we are
Mm,
open to alliances. Okay, so meaning that everything that we are discussing with the RDC, the CF, and NDC and other political parties I can't mention at the moment. Everything that we're discussing now, if everything goes well and we sign an alliance, then definitely we'll be in that alliance and most likely because from our discussions, then the flag bearer of that alliance is going to be President Harry Kalava. Okay. But if we don't agree, because
mm,
for me right now, I don't see myself working with many other or any other alliance apart from what we're discussing right now. So if we don't
yeah.
agree, then NDC is definitely going to be on the ballots. But the whole reason why we put up alliances is that when you have alliances, it makes things easier. You become bigger and better when you have many heads coming together and ensuring that you form a stronger force than if you went in it alone as a political party. So only when we don't agree on critical or fundamental issues are we going to say, you know what, we're not going to go ahead with this, because I've seen even some people saying, alliances are coming together with the main goal of just hating HH and removing him. They don't have a what is this ideological
Yes.
yeah, they're not harmonizing the ideologies and their things like that, which is are not true. A good number of us, of course, have been trying to formalize and harmonize our ideologies as a collective, as a collective. And even in UKA, we tried to do that, but it was just after we said that let's form this, and we did after. So now we are doing it
Mm,
before everything happens. For example, with
mhm,
the alliance that we're trying to form right now with President Kalaba and President Robert Chansa and others, we've been coming out to say what we believe in terms of agriculture, what we believe in terms of
mm,
uh, the economy, in terms of youth and sports, this and that. And we've been doing that. I remember one of the key issues that we had also to agree on was the issue of federalism, okay? And I'm happy that
mm.
finally it was settled. So if we're going to have an alliance is one which is going to support a federal government. So those
Okay.
are, yes, those are critical issues whereby if you don't agree before the alliance is formed, you find that when it's formed, it becomes a problem. I remember in UKA we had problems of, let's say, foreign policy.
Mm.
Who supports Palestine, who supports the Israel.
You have gone ahead of me. I was going to
Yeah.
say I've been looking forward to discuss these matters with you because
Mhm.
you coming from a political science background, and I sit
Mhm.
here also in the similar kind of a situation. I was
Yeah.
going to ask this question very categorical, following political understanding. I was going to
Exactly.
say alliances. You are
Mhm.
coming together with CF and with President Chansa and maybe many others that may join you.
Mhm.
These political parties, let's say, hypothetically so, they agree to say, let's form government. Then you
Mhm.
end up winning an election. My question was going to come and say, which political manifesto are you going to follow? That was number one. Then number two, which
Mhm.
policy document are you going to use? Are you going to drop NDC political
Mhm.
manifesto and your ideology and your philosophical point of view? And are you going to embrace CF? Because in this case, you have said hard caliber. Let's say, I want just to put it in perspective or structure. Let me put a structure. Let's
Mhm.
say hard caliber's party, CF,
Mhm.
its ideology on international policy, maybe it supports the United States or West. And
Mhm.
then your party supports the East, which is China, and so on and so forth. How
Yeah.
will you handle such issues? So I was trying to know which political manifesto are you going to use? Or because you know the mistake we made in 2021,
Mhm.
there were 9 political parties that came around the UPND with one
Mhm.
agenda to remove the PF.
Yeah.
And the agenda was to remove the PF, and the PF was removed. When
Mhm.
the PF was removed, only for the first 2 months, we
Mhm.
had the president referring to the UPND and the UPND alliance government. After that, it's only the UPND. So,
Exactly.
don't you think that if you put Hari Kalaba, he will use you for the first 2 months? Then after that, it will be a
Yeah.
CF government. That is what I wanted to hear.
Yes, and also if you look at the UPND, it's the reason why even NDC left the alliance at the very last minute. One of the things
Mm,
that they refused to do, apart from also making sure that they had the president and vice president from one party changing their name and all those things, the issue of percentages, because when you form a power sharing agreement as an alliance, you need to know to say when we form government, in terms of percentages, how much do these people contribute to having an opportunity to run the government? Are you getting the point? Because when you form
yeah.
government, it's about changing the government and also changing things that you don't like. And you can't change those things if you don't have a job. You can't change from
Mm,
home and continue criticizing the government or your alliance partners just from your home. You need to be given a critical position, for example. And then also your own members, where are they? Where are they placed so that they also help run government? So those things are things which UPND did not do properly. But for us, I think in that regard, apart from the harmonization of the manifesto and signing the power sharing agreement, it's also about saying, in terms of percentage, if we form the government, how much would NDC contribute? In foreign service, what percentage of foreign of people going into the foreign service will be NDC? What percentage of cabinet will be NDC? What percentage of this and that? So all those things are things that we're doing now. And in terms of the manifesto, we're harmonizing, and they're coming up with one because we're getting almost all the things from all the other manifestos. The good thing, by the way, is that if you look at all these political parties, already we have maybe 80% things in common. Are you getting the point? CF, just like NDC, is very big, for example, in industrialization. And when you look at industrialization, it helps solve many other problems when it comes to health, when it comes to agriculture, when it comes to unemployment, women empowerment, and all those things. Because to say once we employ these kinds of tactics, and then you have all these industries, you have all these uh, people coming in to ensure that there's a technological transfer, all these trickle down effects and everything. Once you engineer this kind of development or move in the economy, all these other sectors are going to have this benefit. If we form or rather establish all these industries in these parts of Zambia, there'll be need for more people to work. So already are creating employment. There'll be need for more hospitals. There'll be need for more businesses. The women cooking and ensuring that the people that are working are able to buy their food and things like that. The people that own salons, making sure that those workers are able to go to these salons, do their hair, do their nails, do their makeup, and things like that. The people that will be working will buy cars. So you find that there'll be that boost in the economy. So if you look at what it is that we believe in as political parties, already we have that same foundation of what is this, of industrialization. Then when it came to decentralization, the political parties, of course, had the belief of decentralization to the level of maybe that where the UPND is now with their CDF and everything. But some of us were saying we need to go further than this. Apart from just decentralizing and doing it the way maybe the UPND have done it in one or two ways.
So I want to dive into, I know that you're going to come back because I will need you to explain and give you enough time for us to deal with the nitty-gritties of issues. But I want to dive into one of the critical questions that I've always been asking the Zambian people today. Zambia decide on the 13th of August, we the Zambian people are voting. You as NDC, and in this case, I want you to speak firstly from NDC before you speak for others. Why do you think we need to change government? Is there a need? Because President Hakainde Hichilema has achieved debt restructuring. President Hakainde Hichilema has achieved job creation as they go out there, and they have spoken about that. They have employed so many soldiers, they have employed so many teachers, they have employed a number of government workers in this case. President Hakainde Hichilema has also achieved the increase of CDF. You as NDC and as a political party, I'm sorry, I think your camera needs to be rotated again. You as NDC, I wish to ask this question. Why do you feel we need to change government? What are the reasons what's the rationale behind the agenda of changing government?
Okay. Technology. I don't know where I pressed, and I hope I can see me.
Yes, I can see you.
Are you able to see me?
Yes, I can see you. Just rotate your camera, yes.
Am I back online?
Yes, you are back.
Am I okay?
Yes, you are fine. Yes, perfectly so. Yes, go ahead, please.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you go ahead, please?
Hello?
Go ahead, please. Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead, please. You are on. Can you go ahead, please? All right, I can hear you on my side. Can you go ahead? Madam Saboi, can you go ahead, please? We seem to be having a challenge on. All right, let's do it this way.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I was asking the question, and the question was, you as NDC, why do you feel there is need of changing of government after the UPND has achieved so much of things that they have talked about?
Actually, the UPND have not achieved so much of things that they have talked about. Let me make that very, very clear. I think in terms of the promises, maybe from the 100% of the promises, I think they've achieved maybe about 3 or 4%. Okay. Otherwise, they have not achieved that much. And that is the reason why we need to change the government. I talked about an issue of a decentralization, for example. The only thing they've done with decentralization, they've only implemented a bigger amount, they just increased in terms of a CDF. Because the issue of CDF the UPND is trying to do should respond to the questions of decentralization to say, why should we keep on, what is this, planning and what is this? Why should we keep on planning and making decisions from Lusaka instead of allowing all these places to decide on their own? So they came up with increasing CDF so that people are able to plan on their own where they are. But we have seen a problem to say, despite that, they still made a situation whereby, again, the people who plan in Mpika, who plan in Mpulungu, who plan in Kaputa and Shangombo, they have to get approval from Lusaka. So it defeats the whole process of decentralization. So there, no matter, that's why I even said when it comes to that, we are saying more than just what they're trying to do in terms of CDF is to implement it properly, but go further to even maybe have a federal kind of a government, like where you are, the federalist.
So will you give them a quenu on decentralization, as they call it? Will you give them a quenu there?
No, I wouldn't, because they are trying to, but they're failing in it, So there they would even get 0.5%, because decentralization, 0.5%, yes. The decentralization program was started by the MMD. They started that. The UPND, the PF did just a bit of it. The UPND came in and they made all these pronouncements, and we thought they were going to do that. And then they put in the whole CDF structure or plan, which was supposed to respond to a part of decentralization. But because of the implementation, it has failed to do what it is that it was meant to.
Okay.
So we feel that the step they took was okay, but they just failed to implement. So that's a step that we need to improve on. Just like in education, a free rather I'm a big believer in free education myself. So free education is very good. They promise free education from 1 to university. They have done only 1 to secondary school, which is a good start. So I believe that thing should be continued, but it should go further from grade 1 all the way to university.
At least, Madam Saboi, on education, will you give them a quenu because at least they have done something? What would you say? Would you be rigid again and give them 0.5?
On that one, I'll give them 1.
All right. Let's look at debt restructuring. The UPND has achieved debt restructuring. On debt restructuring, will you give them a tick on debt restructuring?
On debt restructuring, I'll give them 1 yet again. Because for me, if you look at debt restructuring, I think they have really been clear with us. The UPND, I mentioned it briefly when we started, they messed up on their foreign policy just when they came in. UPA, even in the first 2 years of its government, did not even appoint an ambassador to China, because when they came into government, they ignored China. How many times did we go to the media as the opposition and told them to say, you can't ignore China, go to China, you as the president, go to China. But they delayed so many, for 2 years practically, for basically. And by the time we were appointing an ambassador to China 2 years later, a lot of things were already messed up. We saw that even when
Madam President, before we continue, and I want us to close with this. 13th of August is nearby. Elections are very close. You are in an alliance or a partnership as you are still formalizing issues with CF. Are you positioning yourself as a running mate to Hari Kalaba?
I can be a running mate or something else. You know, I've been very clear when it comes to positions and alliances. Everybody goes to an alliance with a position in mind and say, I need to be president, I need to be running mate. From the time I was in UTA, even now, I'm making it very clear to my colleagues. I can be the president, I can be the running mate, or anything else. Let's come up and find a real solution to the problem that we are looking at. Let's find a good team in place. Are you getting the point? So, for example, people, for example, know already to say, we've been working together with the CF and Hari Kalaba and President Chancellor. If another party comes in or another alliance comes in and says, let's work together, and then the best position that we should give them is, let's say, of the running mate, I'll step aside and say, can this person be the running mate and I'll be something else? I'm very open to that. So for me, I am not rigid. And the Zambians will see that. I am not rigid when it comes to alliances. I am okay with number 1, 2, or anything else. I'm very, very okay with that.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it for tonight. I was hosting no other than Saboi Imboela, the president of NDC. She has made it very clear that she is working with CF, but much more, she is not rigid either to be the president or the running mate or anything else. So meaning she's available. We will get back here with her because I want her to come and do the rating, because she has understood politics from both the academic angle and also from a practitioner. I would want to host her on this platform so we can do the 5 years of President Hakainde Hichilema. And I want her to convince me, if we have to change government, why do we need to change government? And if not so, who are we putting in and why should we put in? This has been your friend and brother, no other than Dr. EJ Nkoma, coming on until I see you again on the same platform. Have a wonderful evening and may God bless our nation, Zambia.
Thank you.